Everyone was really quiet, yeah, singing. So I know we all miss Betty, yeah, to lead us in the singing. But she's having fun in Vegas right now. I heard she's winning too, that's why. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here and joining us this morning for our Dharma family service. You know, just the other week, we had a wonderful Hanamatsuri service, right? Celebrating the birth of Shakyamuni Buddha. Wasn't the Hanamido just beautiful? You know, every year we are so fortunate to receive a variety of flowers from our generous temple members. And each year we have a unique and beautifully decorated Hanamido. This is a wonderful lesson in the power of interdependence and how embracing impermanence and change can be beautiful. In the sacred story of the Buddha's birth, the baby is said to have taken 7 steps and declared, "In heaven above and on earth below, I am the most honored one. I shall dispel the suffering that fills this world." As we know, this probably didn't happen, but this story is rich in symbolism and meaning. The 7 steps signify that he would go beyond the 6 realms of existence, the realms of suffering, and take the extra step into the awakened life of a Buddha. This announcement proclaims his future attainment of Buddhahood, and it also reveals the desire of the Buddha to help all of us understand our own potential for transformation and change. Just like how a lotus flower rises from muddy waters to bloom beautifully, we also have the ability to transform the suffering we experience into something more. The Buddha shared with us a path of continual becoming. Each moment of our lives is an opportunity to look deep within to better understand the working of our own heart and mind. This is the profound interior practice of mindfulness that is a life of awakening. In Shin Buddhism, our practice isn't formal meditation where we sit for hours, but rather it is the natural and spontaneous recitation of the Nembutsu that can be practiced in every moment of our busy lives. The name Namo Amida Butsu is the calling voice of Amida Buddha, the cosmic sound of wisdom and compassion, urging us to wake up, to be present. Our dojo, our practice hall in the Pure Land Path, is our ordinary daily lives, where we deeply listen with the ears of our hearts to all that life has to teach us. At the heart of Shakyamuni's teachings is the lesson of suffering, impermanence, and interdependence. These truths form the basis of our spiritual worldview and how we should act in the world, how we should be in the world. Each person's suffering is unique and real, and we should cultivate a compassionate heart and extend loving kindness towards all beings. Because we understand the truth of impermanence, we live our lives as if today is the first day and as if it could be possibly our last. If today was your last day on earth, how would you savor and cherish each moment? How would you treat those you love? How would you like to be remembered? Would you be able to put aside petty grievances, hurts, and to live with an open and compassionate heart? And because we understand interdependence, we act from the knowledge that we are truly part of a larger whole and must do all that we can to support each other. In these challenging times of conflict and war, we should reflect on this limitless life of true equality and freedom that was promised by the Buddha, and strive to walk the path of peace that he shared. In the true spirit of the Bodhisattva ideal, the goal of Shin Buddhism is not simply personal liberation, but a universal awakening of all beings in this world of suffering. In the hymn of the Pure Land, Shinran Shonen writes, "Those who attain the Pure Land of Peace return to this world of 5 defilements, and like Shakyamuni Buddha, bring endless benefit to all beings." The life of the historical Buddha offers a model for living in this world for the sake of others. The Dharma teaches us how to live with awareness, with compassion, and with grace for ourselves and others. This life of continual self-reflection is how we awaken to the dynamic activity of wisdom and compassion, always present in our lives. Living with this awareness, we should naturally embody and manifest the virtues of the Buddha in all that we do. Yet we know that the 3 poisons of greed, of anger, of ignorance continue to influence our lives, causing immense suffering. The ongoing war in Ukraine is just one example of how profoundly destructive our ego can be when left unchecked. In a letter to his followers, Shinran Shonin reflects on our capacity for unwholesome actions. He says, "Human beings are such that maddened by the passions of greed, we desire to possess. Maddened by the passions of anger, we hate that which should not be hated. Seeking to go against the law of cause and effect, led astray by the passions of ignorance, we do what should not even be thought. Only when illuminated by Amida's light can our unexamined inner life be revealed, and the darkness of the 3 poisons be neutralized. We must endeavor to listen deeply to the calling voice of wisdom and compassion, returning us home to ourselves. This is the working of Namu Amida Butsu, which transforms our ignorance into wisdom, our greed into generosity, and our anger, our hatred into love. We need to listen even more deeply in these dark and troubling times." Shakyamuni Buddha taught that the root cause of human suffering is our greed, anger, and ignorance, the 3 poisons. Doesn't it seem like we've been dealing with so much anger in recent years? From our politics to pandemic restrictions to how we deal with everyday difficulties of life. It seems like we are always angry about something, and we don't know how to quench the rising flames which threaten to consume us. It's natural to get angry. But what is harmful is when we cannot let go of that anger. In the Samyutta Nikaya, one of the early Pali writings, the Buddha offers the following teaching on anger. He says, "Having slain anger, one sleeps soundly. Having slain anger, one does not sorrow. The killing of anger or saka, with its poisoned root and honey tip, this is the killing the noble ones praise. For having slain that, one does not sorrow." The Buddha's path is not about escaping from the ocean of suffering, but rather is about diving into and immersing ourselves in it in order to be transformed. Just like how the lotus flower cannot grow in clear water, we cannot grow without the mud of our lives. Our challenges, our struggles, our obstacles, our hurts are the nutrients that allow us to grow and to thrive. The Buddha's teachings enable us to take it all in and to transform the muck, to transform all that junk stuff into a beautiful life of awakening. However, right, it's so easy for us to be consumed by anger when we encounter difficulties in life. Our unresolved anger and resentment can lead to more suffering. The Buddha teaches how bloodstains cannot be removed by more blood. Resentment cannot be removed by more resentment. Resentment can be removed only by forgetting it. I recently watched the new Batman movie. And we know the superhero, right, is an instrument of vengeance who brings wrongdoers to justice. This movie explores how Batman, how his singular mission of vengeance is transformed through his experiences throughout the movie. Towards the end of the film, he reflects on the evolution of his anger in the following monologue, and he says, "Vengeance won't change the past, mine or anyone else's. I have to become more. People need hope to know someone is out there for them. The city is angry, scarred like me. Our scars can destroy us, even after the physical wounds have healed. But if we survive them, they can transform us. They can give us the power to endure and the strength to fight." Isn't this an example of a lotus blooming in mud? Of how through deep self-reflection we can transform our greed, anger, and ignorance into the reason for awakening. This is the everyday wisdom that the Buddha teaches and pushes us to become more, because we can be more. More than our greed, more than our anger, more than our ignorance. We become more of our foolish selves within the embrace of the Buddha's dynamic wisdom and compassion. Shakyamuni Buddha and Shinran Shonin understood that life is hard and that the way would be difficult. This is why there are three treasures: the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, in which we take refuge, in which we find safety, to be our true selves, our whole selves. It is in the unity of these three where we discover a complete path for our whole lives. In the teacher, we have the one who shows us the way in this life. In the teachings, we have the way of understanding and love. And within community, within Sangha, we have a true place of practice, our lives, and our relationships with each other. We shouldn't just study the Dharma. We should live it. The Buddha taught that the way of peace is not passive, but rather is dynamic activity in our world. Each of us is responsible for cultivating the conditions for spiritual awakening and for living with Shinran's heartfelt wish. May there be peace in the world, and may the Buddha's teaching spread. We should respond to this spiritual call to action by embodying and creating the conditions for both personal and collective peace. The Buddha's birth truly offers us hope for living in this troubled world of ours. And so, as I conclude, please join me in Gassho for a closing reflection. The words of Gomonshu Koju no Tani, head priest of the Nishi Honganji, in gratitude for the Jodo Shinshu teachings. Namo Amida Butsu, entrust yourselves to me. I will liberate you just as you are. This is the calling voice of Amida. My blind passions are embraced in the Buddha's awakening. So the Buddha calls out to me, I will liberate you just as you are. Gratefully responding to the Buddha's call, I find that I am already on the path that leads to the Pure Land, and the Nembutsu flows freely from my thankful heart. Living with the Dharma as my guide softens my rigid heart and mind. Gratitude for the gift of life I have received frees me from becoming lost in greed and anger, and allows me to share a warm smile and speak gentle words. Sharing in the joy and sadness of others, I shall strive to live each day to the fullest. in trusting in the Buddha of all-inclusive wisdom and all-embracing compassion. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namman Dabutsu. Namman Dabutsu. Namman Dabutsu. Namman Dabutsu. Thank you.